The pretty infamous man who's also been at the center of one of the biggest controversies in motorsports history brings back another big news. That's right, the F1 villain Michael Masi landed a pretty big Supercars gig after he got appointed as the new independent chair of the Supercars Commission. But when, and most importantly, how did this happen? Guess you gotta stick around to find out. First off, Michael Masi controversies aren't the biggest surprise in Formula 1. Aussie F1 villain rose to sports infamy pretty quickly last December over his handling of the safety car procedure at the end of a decisive race in Abu Dhabi, and that's the very same race that determined the world champion. Now the F1 season has been really dramatic and there's no doubt there, but this decision added another wild twist and even cost 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton from adding yet another crown to his decorated list of achievements. Plus, Red Bull Racing's Max Verstappen was even able to catch up to Hamilton, which he probably wouldn't have done otherwise. So much so that he even went on to win the race and the title. This was obviously a pretty big blow, and it ended up with Masi removal from his position as race director right before this year's season. Plus, that's the position he'd held since 2019. In fact, he even revealed that he got death threats over the saga. But that's all over because clearly, he's got a new role with Supercars Australia. The 44-year-old says that he's looking forward to leading the sport into what he calls a brand new era as he joins the Supercars Commission effective immediately. And that's the very same commission that's responsible for key technical and sporting decisions for the Australian series. Moving on, Masi says that he views this role as continuing the amazing work that's done by Neil and the commission, and hopes to introduce Gen 3 Chevrolet Camaro and Ford Mustang. Coming up, Shane's pretty excited to have Michael Masi on board. Now, Masi says he's proud to have been given this role and even looks forward to working with the key stakeholders in the sport to make sure the future is exciting for their teams, partners, sponsors, and of course the fans. In fact, he's taken it over from Supercars Hall of Famer Neil Crompton, who just stepped away from the role in the commission last month. And Supercars CEO Shane Howard seems pretty confident that Masi's gonna be a great successor to Compton, even while many critics may disagree, but that doesn't stop Shane from going on and on about the new Welshman's passion and knowledge for motorsports, because he's pretty happy that the commission decided to appoint Masi to such an important position. Adding to that, Shane said that the role of the commission chair needs to be a strong, independent, and robust leader. Of course, they'll need to be effectively managing the commission and its process, broker compromise whenever required, and be a good communicator. It all comes with the job and there's a ton of responsibility, but is everyone sure that Aussie F1 villain can handle it? Shane definitely is. Following up, Shane seems to recognize Masi's talent, experience, and leadership along the way. He added that Michael had worked pretty closely and industriously with Supercars team owners, stakeholders, and principals for many years, so there's a ton of experience and leadership that's going to be invaluable in guiding the sport in the future. Adding to that, you don't really meet a lot of people with such an extensive understanding of the industry, along with such an amazing passion, and Shane seems to think Michael's definitely got the drive for it and will be a great successor to Neil, who already did such an outstanding job. Clearly, everyone at Supercars is ready to welcome Michael back to the pinnacle of racing in Australia and is even looking forward to working with him closely after he lands the role of chair of the commission. And while that's nice to hear, especially for Masi, a lot of people are going to be pretty pissed. You gotta think about it. The FIA removed him from the role in the aftermath of last year's Abu Dhabi season finale. In fact, they only kept him with the governing body's roster right until he announced that he's going to be leaving the organization last month. At the time, he said that he was moving back to Australia to be closer to his family and take on new challenges. Were one of those new challenges the Supercars gig? Because it sure seems like it. Next up, Masi's no stranger to Supercars. In fact, he held the role of race director for Supercars between 2016 and 18, right when he was appointed as the late Charlie Whiting's wingman. And when he passed away suddenly in 2019, Masi was promoted to his F1 race director role, which he even held until the end of the 2021 F1 season, and that's after the infamous Abu Dhabi Grand Prix safety car debacle. And back when the news about his new job started in July, he ensured that they were nothing more than rumors. In fact, he added that there were a bunch of things that popped up after his resignation, but he wasn't in a rush to confirm or deny anything. Plus, the role within the Supercars Championship pretty much ticks every box for the Aussie who relocated to Australia too, as we mentioned earlier, just spending some more time with the family and facing new challenges. Frankly, it all makes sense when you put everything that way. According to Masi, he's got a bunch of different offers from all corners of the globe and many exciting opportunities, but he chose to stay in Australia and accept the Supercars gig. Now, whether it was planned during the resignation or even a sudden opportunity, it definitely opens doors for Michael Masi, who maybe needs this after all the controversies with the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Moving on to other related news, first up, Lewis Hamilton finally opens up about the heartbreak he suffered at the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. After remaining silent on the very controversial finale, he finally spoke up about what was going through his head during the final laps where Michael failed to follow the rulebook. Hamilton said to Vanity Fair in an interview that it was his worst fear come alive and went on to explain how he sat in his car post-race in total disbelief. In fact, he couldn't believe what just happened, saying there was no way they were going to cheat him out of this. The 7-time world champion failed to put his feelings into words and explain how hard it was to find the strength to face it. He said, quote, "I had no strength, and it was one of the toughest moments I would say that I've ever had in a long time." Up next, Mercedes' $6 million F1 energy bill prompts solar farm plan. There's definitely a combination of factors in Britain that triggered the huge increase in energy bills for customers, and over the course of 2022, Mercedes found out that energy costs have tripled, and it turns out it's going to get even worse over the winter as prices are again expected to escalate, with the F1 team having just a few options to cut back on its use of electricity with zero compromise to work. Toto Wolff says it's time to think outside of the box, and to execute that plan, they're creating a solar farm at an unknown location near its factory which can provide the team with power. Now, it's definitely nice that they're taking a look from this sustainable perspective because we've got a lot of environmental concerns piling up. Wolff said that when they mention energy costs, they're talking in millions, like $2 million to $6 million in energy costs alone, even if they're going to be supplied with 100% green energy. To be CO2 neutral, we just need to do what we can. While the solar farm plans are still in their infancy, they may not start until 2024. Either way, Wolff says it's pretty great investment for the team in terms of finances and sustainability issues. Finally, Red Bull team principal Christian Horner reveals plans for his future in Formula One. The 48-year-old is among the most recognizable personalities in the sport outside of the drivers in charge of the Red Bull team since 2005. Right after the energy drink, the Giant took over Jaguar F1, Horner is now in his 18th season and has led the Milton Keynes squad right back to the top. And that's right after the dominant spell of 4 consecutive world championships between 2010 and 2013. Now, as for the future of F1, Horner says he's still pretty motivated by what he does and is still the youngest team principal in the sport at the moment, so there's some burning competitiveness within him that he needs to take care of first. At the same time, he didn't completely eliminate other possibilities. He kept saying that he's still very focused on what he's doing with Red Bull. That's a wrap for this video. What's your take on Michael Masi landing the big Supercars gig? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel for more videos like this, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.